Welcome to another flute tutorial. I am the Techie Flautist, and today I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked quite a bit, which is how do you get your flute through a guitar effects pedal? So in order to do this, there is a few pieces of equipment you will need. You don't have to use the exact same model or brand that I use. But if you can kind of get your head around how it all slots together, you should be able to sort of find similar things that are available wherever you live around the world. So to start off with, you are obviously going to need some sort of flute microphone. You have a few different options. I'm going to do a different video all about miking a flute, looking at the different microphones you can use. I'm just going to tell you in this video my main way of doing it. So I love the KK Silver Bullet. It's small, it's compact, it clips onto your flute head joint, and that way you don't have to worry about standing up close to a mic, which doesn't work for me because I move around too much when I perform. The other thing that I really like about this is the clamp is actually big enough to fit on an alto flute and a bass flute. I'm not sure about a contrabass flute though. I haven't tried because I don't have one and I don't have $10,000 either. So you simply clip it onto the end of your flute, and then it comes with this lovely little preamp, this and a usual jack. Now often on guitar pedals, Often on guitar pedals, you have the jack input. You actually can't go straight from the mic lead into a guitar pedal. It will not work. In order for this little fancy microphone to work, it actually needs to be connected with the preamp that it comes with. This particular preamp, there are two different versions of it. One has an XLR output, which just means it's the output with the three little spikes. The other one is the jack output. I obviously got the XLR one because this allows the mic to be powered by phantom power, which means I don't have to have a battery inside the box, which can be useful, but it's also good to be able to have the battery in the box. So get the XLR one because it can go either way. So you simply plug it in here, and then you're going to need an XLR cable to come out the other end. So this is my mini baby XLR cable. I get annoyed at ridiculously long cables because they get tangled and I trip over them. However, having said that, if you have one that is too short, you're also in trouble. So you just clip it in and ta-da, it's connected. Now, getting this into a guitar pedal is the interesting part that confuses most people. So it depends a little bit on the guitar pedal as to how you're going to approach this. The first pedal we're going to look at is one of the really big, lovely digital guitar pedals because they're a bit easier to connect a mic into. This is the lovely Boss RC300 loop station. I am not endorsed by Boss, I just like this pedal a lot. One of the things I like about it, well, there are many things I like about it, but on the back here you've got lots of different input options, and you've actually got a mic input option. I'm doing this upside down so it's on this side, which means I can literally just take my little XLR cable, plug it in, make sure the phantom power is switched on so that the microphone has power, and then I am literally good to go. However, not every pedal has an XLR input, unfortunately. Be nice if they did, but they are designed for guitars, and guitars, generally speaking, do not use this type of plug. So we're going to have to get a little bit creative and think outside of the box. Now, the very first time I sat down and tried to figure out how to do this, I was actually in uni and I played a little bit of electric guitar, so I had a guitar pedal that I think I kind of commandeered from my brother and never gave back, but that's okay. The pedal has since come to the end of its life. The very first method I used came about just by me plugging things in and experimenting and trying to make the devices I had work. So I started off on this really old Yamaha mixing desk built like a brick, which is fabulous, although it's also kind of heavy. My dad bought it for me actually when I was about 15. As you can see, it's got lots of channels. It's really simple. You just take your XLR input, plug it in. So now you've got sound going from your flute microphone into the preamp, into the mixing desk, where you can turn your phantom power on so that your mic is powered. You can adjust the volume of the channel that you plugged it into. You can also adjust your master volume. And then what I actually did, if you talk to a sound person, they might tell you that this is a little bit dodgy, but it worked really well and I haven't exploded anything yet. You need another cable, however. The magical cable that you need is one of these, which is just a basic guitar lead. However, there are two types of them. I'll do like a close-up so you can see this. There are two types of them. You'll notice that one has a single ring and one has a double ring. A double ring is stereo, so it's got a left and right channel, whereas a single ring is mono. Just personal preferences, I always work with stereo leads as much as I can because the microphone is going to be picking up a stereo signal, and if you're going into a pedal that has like left and right sort of bouncing delay, you're going to lose it if you use a mono plug, but either will work. And what I did was I plugged this into the headphones output, plop, and then the other end went into the guitar effects pedal. So pretty much every single guitar effects pedal you will ever pick up has a jack input. Some of them have a few on the side, but the other ones are usually for like expression pedals or like to do a fancy send and return or left and right pan thing, but you don't need to know about that. You just go into the main input and then you would come out of here into your guitar amp or PA system. The other thing that you need to note is the direction of the signal. So in sound, we're always talking about sound coming out, so that's our output, and sound going in. So for example, you think about, okay, I've got a flute. The flute is producing sound out. It's going in to the microphone, traveling through its lead, traveling through its little box, coming out of the cable and going in to the mixing desk. So that's an input. The sound then travels through the mixing desk and then comes out of the headphone jack and goes in to the input on the pedal. The sound would then come out of the pedal and go in to the guitar amp. If you mix up your in and outs, you won't get any sound, and that would be very unfortunate. So this was kind of the first way I did it. Now this desk is really bulky and heavy. If you're gigging, it's just totally not impractical. Plus you really, like 80% of this is unnecessary for what you want to do if you're just trying to get a flute into a guitar pedal. So I started to play around and experiment with a few different things, and I'm going to tell you what I came up with. The first thing that I tried was this amazing little cable thing, which was really good in principle, but kind of terrible in application. That's not the word I'm looking for. It was good in theory, but at the end of the day, it didn't quite work. The idea is this is an XLR cable. You've got your male input, so you could just clip it on to the end of your thing. Haha. It converts it into a stereo output. You can get mono ones of these as well as stereo. You would then go directly into your guitar pedal, into the input, and then you'd come out and into your sound system. So we'd go like output, into sound system. So this is what I mean by this method kind of doesn't work. Excuse the headphones, my room's too small to use a loudspeaker without generating scary amounts of feedback. You plug everything in, you play your sound, and it absolutely just, you've got nothing, it doesn't work. You know the pedal's activated because of the little red light on it, but still no sound. Now I have done quite a bit of problem solving trying to make this adapter work, and it's, to be honest, it's a little unusual. So if I don't go into a normal stomp box but plug this back into, oh, I should have had this up on the table. If I do a little table jiggle, this table is really small. Excuse my unorganizedness. There we go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. Oh no, I'm squishing a cord. There we go. So if I take this and plug it directly into the guitar input of our desk, it actually kind of sort of works, but the volume is incredibly quiet. Like you can now kind of hear my voice. Everything is on max. It doesn't go any louder than that. And that is just not practical. If I take this exact same lead and plug it into this other pedal that we've been trying to get to work, and then take the output from that pedal, oh man, I got my cords tangled again. Untangling the cords. Take the output from my little stomp box directly into the same input, which we know works because we just tested it, and do the exact same thing. Absolutely, oh, that's not plugged in properly. Go again. Absolutely no sound. Very, very sad. And you're like, okay, it could be a dodgy lead, except I tested that as well. So if I take our output, if I turn the volume down before I unplug it, if I take our output cable and be like, okay, this could be a dodgy cable, let's just test it. We will test it by using my El Cheapo electric guitar from when I was, I don't know, 14. Straight away it's got sound. Works without a problem. And then you're like, okay, well maybe the problem is the box. Well, I kind of tested that too. So we're gonna just volume down, re-plug it all. Sorry, you have to watch all the plugging ins. And then unplug the mic, grab the other guitar lead, plug it into the guitar, and grab the other end of the lead and plug it in to the pedal. Wrong one. I really shouldn't do this upside down. Activate the pedal. Straight away works. My guitar now sounds like a bass. Very distracting. So we've kind of ruled out all the cables, the thing that doesn't work, which I was very, like, I would have been really happy if an adapter like this worked, or even a cable like this, because you can get cables that are XLR to 1/4-inch jack, but it just doesn't work. So it was back to the drawing board. Hold on, I'm gonna just pop my guitar to one side. So we have ascertained that this magical little, I don't know, $5 adapter, you can get more expensive ones, doesn't work. I've tested it. The adapter itself works, it just does not work with all pedals. Very disappointing. We've tried the big desk. We don't want to use that because it's not practical for gigs. So the solution was, it took me a lot of research, but the solution was this tiny, oh, it's not tiny, but comparatively, compared to this, it is tiny. This is a little, it's called the ProMix IV. It's by Roland? No, it's not by Roland. Who's it? Who made it? Rolls. That's where I got Roland from. Made by Rolls. It's the reason why I went with this particular mini mixing desk. There are a lot of mini mixing desks on the market. Like you could get a mini Yamaha one just like that. That'd be about, I don't know, about yay big, and it would only have one XLR input. If that's what all you need, then you can go for that. The reason why I went for this particular one was I play about 4 different flutes, and this has 4 inputs, so it allows me to have a different mic for every flute, which can be good if you don't want to be like mic on, mic off, then put flute down. You can just pick flute up, put flute down, pick next flute up, put flute down. The other reason I picked this particular model was it is or can be battery operated, so if you wanted to go busking, you don't have to worry necessarily about trying to power it from an external source. It can power itself. So this box works basically the same as the Yamaha mixing desk. It just doesn't have any built-in effects. There's no built-in EQ. It's got built-in phantom power, but that's basically the extent of it. It's very, very basic. You just take your XLR cable, plug it in the back. Its main outputs at the back, you'll notice, are also XLR cables. That is okay because we're not going to use them. Having said that, I don't have any batteries in it, so I'm going to plug it in. Oh, grab the right lead. You guys are lucky you can't like see the cord spaghetti that's surrounded me on the floor. Plug it in. Now before you turn it on, we're going to connect it into the pedal because it's always good to have everything connected before you turn it on so you don't like accidentally blow up something. So we've got the microphone going into the little box, coming out of the headphone jack at the front, going into the input of the pedal. And then I am sending that down to a device that has headphone output and a feed going into my computer so you can actually hear it. This little desk doesn't have a master volume on it. However, each channel or each different input for your 4 mics does have a volume on it, which means you can now quite easily turn the volume up and down. Let's test it. We're going to, first off, turn it on, and straight away I can tell you it's working. And I can now adjust my volume as is required. And now I can play with the pedal, adjust, like, change the effects. And there we go. That is basically how I do it. So I go flute mic into a mini mixer, out of the headphone jack, into a guitar pedal, and then into a sound system. Often I'll run it through multiple pedals at a time, but for simplicity's sake in this video we have gone with 1 pedal. The idea of this cable adapter thing, it's good, impractical, doesn't work. Now in terms of making this all portable, I built myself like a pedal board and have this kind of sitting almost underneath the pedals, but so I can still adjust the microphone levels really easily. So if you have any questions about this, please post it in the comments below. I will post links to all the equipment I have used for this video down in the comments below. There will be other videos to do with flutes and pedals and how it all works, because I've been getting a lot of questions, which is good. I love questions. And that is pretty much this. Hopefully I haven't rambled too much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy fluting, and I will see you in the next video.